Even the best laid plans come up against the unplanned. What challenge most surprised you about Sandy and its aftermath? And how did you improvise to deal with it?
I think one of the things that surprised us about Sandy, and we had been watching the weather for a couple of days prior to Sandy hitting, was how high the water was going to come. There was a storm about 20 years ago. Water came up onto the streets of downtown Manhattan. We had looked back at historical information. We found there was a storm in the 1820s where the water came up to a certain elevation. We had planned for 1.5 feet above that. The water at Sandy came well past the 1820 level, came well past 1.5 feet over that, and just inundated the system, and came in very quickly. I think we really have to look forward as to what's going to happen with climate change and where the water levels are going to be, and that's what we're working with others in government to do now.
The Con Ed network is a very, very hardy network, and it's very, very strong. But we've never lost that amount of power south of 39th Street in Lower Manhattan for that long a period of time. So looking forward, when you talk about resiliency, how you can harden the system against those types of events, there are things you need to do. We've got a very good plan in place to get the rolling stock out of the way. We lost no pieces of rolling stock during the storm, either buses or trains. We got them on high ground, safe locations, but you can't move physical infrastructure. So you have to find ways to put resiliency around it.
When you run a charity, the answer to every problem is raise $1. If you raise that $1, you can figure the rest of it out. One of the biggest things that shocked us was that food access was first and foremost not about $1. We could raise the money, we did raise the money, but when your vendors can't get to you, there's no way to get that food.
There's no one size fits all, and we have to be careful about that. There's always a propensity to want to mandate, well, here's the fix. It's a natural gas generator, or it's a this, or it's a that. There's no one size solution. I think it's getting more resiliency in the power network, which our partners in the power industry are working on. It's more resiliency in the transport network, so fiber optic systems that all require power and backup power are more resilient.
We learned some positive things that we didn't know. We learned that technology had changed, that the landfill techniques that were done in this century were far better than were done on the east side. We learned that they were built to the 500-year floodplain zone, and the result of it is Brookfield Place and Goldman Sachs building over there were the sort of the beacon of light that you had in Lower Manhattan.
The other thing that we really learned is how important generators are in buildings. Even if the power is out, if the building is designed well enough, it's green, if it's well insulated, if you can keep the elevators running, the hall lights running, and hopefully maybe even the boilers running, people can survive in that building. It's not the best situation, but it's good enough for an emergency.